Pardon Board is reconvening. We're at the State Police Barracks with the staff at the barracks. Please introduce yourself for the record.
Lieutenant Jeremy Burns, Executive Officer.
Lisa Prejean, classification.
All right, and we have, would the offender, the applicant, please introduce yourself for the record. Tell us your name and your DOC number, please.
My name is Hassan A Abdul 34790.
Hassan?
Yes,
Hassan, okay. Let me just acknowledge the folks who have joined us before we started. We have your daughter, Aliyah and Schwan, Sherman Cole Andrews, and here with us in Baton Rouge, we have Charlene Gleason, Frank Jarrow, and Darren A. Way. And three of those folks want to speak on your behalf. We'll call on them at the appropriate time to do so. We also have Elsie Young, who has joined us and wishes to speak in opposition, along with the representative from the DA's office in Jefferson Parish. First, I'll just read some identifying information into the record. Then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Freeman, seated to my far right. The case has been assigned to him. He'll take the on the interview. We'll hear from the staff there at the barracks and from those folks who've indicated they'd like to speak. And at the end, before we vote, you'll be allowed to make a statement.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Abdul, your DOC number is 384790. You're here this morning seeking commutation of your sentence. You were sentenced in Jefferson Parish first in May of 2011 for possession of a firearm with a convicted felon. You received a 10-year sentence. And then in 2013, as a habitual offender for attempted second-degree murder, you received a 25-year sentence. Is that information correct, Mr. Abdul?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, would you answer Mr. Freeman's question?
Yes.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 51 years old.
Okay. And how long have you served on this sentence?
13 years, 9 months, and 9 days, sir.
What's your educational level?
A GED.
Okay. Get your GED while you've been in prison?
Yes, sir. I received my GED while incarcerated.
Okay. Tell me exactly what went on that day. Why y'all were arguing and why did you end up shooting?
On May the 24th, 2009, Mr. Elsie Young came to me at the close of business, and he told me that we had a discrepancy with the money. After that, we went in the office, we had a heated argument, and I shot Mr. Young several times. And I'm before this honorable board today. I take full responsibility for my actions, and I'm very remorseful for what I have done.
Okay. Had you been drinking at that time?
Yes, sir, I was drinking at that time. At the close of business, I normally have a couple of drinks after that.
Okay. How often you drank?
Not every day, but at the close of business on the weekends, after we close, we normally have a couple of drinks.
Okay. Have you ever done drugs?
No, sir, just alcohol.
Mr. Young is opposed to you getting out. Still says he suffers from anxiety. And that you know he would like for you to stay in prison. You shot him, well, you said it several times. You shot him 6 times to be exact.
Yes, sir.
The sheriff is opposed. Your cousin is unopposed. Where do you plan on staying if you would get out?
In McKinney, Texas, with my sister.
Okay. What are you going to do in Texas?
I have a job with Mr. Richard at Wing Bucket, 3510 West University Drive in McKinney, Texas.
What do you do? What would you be doing?
I will be a cook.
Be a cook. Okay.
And whatever else they need to be done around the restaurant.
You know, you have a pretty violent criminal history. Back in 2007, you had a domestic abuse battery. What was that about?
That was dealing with my brother-in-law. We had got into it. I was trying to make it out the house with my kids at 632 North Galvez and the Lafitte Housing Project. I know that my past history is violent, but the man I am today, the self-help programs that I've taken, I have changed I wanted to change. I wanted to change because I didn't want to be like this anymore.
Okay, tell me about some of those self-help programs that you've taken.
I've taken AA, I've taken anger management, and I've taken parenting, and I also take victim awareness. And these classes that I've taken, they've shown me and taught me how to walk away from a bad situation, to meditate and pray, because I've decided that I don't want to be like this because of the environment that I grew up in. I grew up in the Florida Housing Project, and after my father and my mother separated when I was 9, I had to go with my mother, and they took me out of an environment that was a peaceful environment. And I grew up in the project where I was taught wrong.
Yeah, you said you took victim awareness. What did you learn from victim awareness? And if you had an opportunity to tell Mr. Young something, what would you tell him?
I would tell Mr. Young that I'm very sorry for the wrong and harm that I have caused him. I've learned in victim awareness that when you take someone's peace, comfort, and security, that's not right. And for what I've done, I'm very remorseful for that.
Okay. You have a low risk, a low need. You've had 0 disciplinary write-ups according to your rap sheet. Is that true?
Yes, sir, it is.
No disciplinary write-up whatsoever. How long have you been at state police?
I've been in the state police barracks almost a year now.
And what do you do for them at state police?
I'm an automotive technician. I take care of the state troopers, marked cars, unmarked vehicles, and state workers. I ensure that they are safe driving on the road. And if there was to get into a high-speed chase, I try to make sure that these vehicles don't break down.
Yeah, I see you've been very active with your community in prison. Tell me some of the things you've done.
I was a mentor. I was a facilitator. I facilitated multiple classes: anger management, critical thinking, parenting, and mentoring. I mentored the young men, and I used myself, and I tried to explain to these young men that you don't go down the same route that I have went down. I went down the wrong road, and I had to change myself. And the decision that I made on May 24, 2009, it shouldn't have been. I've made a wrong decision by causing harm and pain to Mr. Young, Mr. LZ Young.
Did you work at hospice?
Yes, sir, I did. I sat with multiple guys that was terminally ill, and I did the best that I could. Washed them, fed them, and I was there for them on their dying bed.
And you on that. That's a tough job, very tough job.
Yes, sir.
Ward, do you have any comments?
Yes, sir. Although Mr. Abdul's only been here right at a year, we've gotten to know him very well. And we've gotten to know him very well because every time we need something, he's who we go to. We have had and are having several projects that are done outside of work, specifically on weekends. And we never have to ask him to do it because he asks us if he can. I wish I had a quarter of the energy he has, and he's older than me. He's always got a smile on his face. He's always willing to help, and just an extremely respectful, courteous person.
Mr. Hassan, I just want to state that you've had several letters of support from the different people you've worked for and worked with while you've been in prison. I just wanted to state that for the record. Madam Chairman, I have no further questions.
I don't see any other questions by my colleagues, so we'll hear from the folks who want to speak. And first, we'll hear from, can we hear from Schwan Rowe?
Good morning.
Go ahead, ma'am. What would you like to know?
Good morning. I just want to say that if my father is granted the opportunity to be released from prison, I will support him 100%. He has helped me. I can remember the day he went. I've struggled with it a little bit, but he has helped me really overcome my anxiety, any problems I had. He still was a father. He still is a granddad to my 2 kids. I would say he just did a whole 360. He really turned around. The man he is today, I am proud to call him my father. And I plan on supporting him financially, emotionally, spiritually, whatever he needs. My husband and I, we're going to be here for him 100%.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Mr. Andrews? I think you're on mute. You're still on mute. There you go.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
Go ahead, sir. What would you like us to know?
I've had several conversations over the phone with Mr. Hassan, and I'm very involved in the recovery community in McKinney. We actually have a meeting right there at 802 University down the road from where he'd be working. 3 meetings a day, and I'd just let you know that I'm ready, willing, and able to help him get grounded and continue to grow. I think in our conversations, I do believe that he's got a good grasp of what is required, and I feel I'm uniquely suited to help him re-enter society.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
And with us here in the room is Charlene Gleason. We'd like to hear from you.
And he's gonna do it, he did good. He there for his family, he there for his kids. And I want to, when you come home, I got a job set up for him, and he's gonna be living with me. I have Mr. Cole, he's out there in Kennedy. So we got a lot of things like AA, we set up for him, so he can always stay active when he in that work. And I want y'all to know that we here to represent. He changed a lot. He's there with all of us. Talk to him every day. He come see him. And since my dad been gone, it's been kind of hard for me. I still make it. So my brother, he showed up a lot. So, now. Everything is not enough for me to job. We down for his family.
Okay. Is there a statement you'd like to make to us before we vote, sir?
Yes, ma'am. First and foremost, I would like to thank this honorable board for allowing me this opportunity to say how extremely remorseful I am for the wrong and harm that I've caused Mr. Young. I'm sorry for the pain that I've caused Mr. Elsie Young's family, my own family. And today I sit before this board and my record is before you all. I'm not the same man that I was when I entered the Department of Corrections. I have done everything, every opportunity that was afforded to me. I took advantage of it. And today I am not the same man. And I just ask you all to, look at my record and see that I'm not the same man today. And I'm very sorry for what I have done. I'm very remorseful for the hurt and the pain that I've caused Mr. Elsie Young and his family.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So can we hear from Mr. Elsie Young now?
Good morning.
Morning. Go ahead, sir.
So I truthfully believe that when situations like this happen, you have to accept the truth fact of the matter. And the true fact of the matter is I see all the progress Mr. Abdul has done, but he was going to end my life at the interim if that gun wouldn't have jammed. And I wasn't arguing with him. He was arguing with me about the money that he took and just didn't remember because of the drinking and the drugs. I'm very opposed to him releasing from prison for the simple fact of he almost took me from my family. The struggles that I have on a daily basis, my left arm is still messed up so bad to where I can't lift anything. I have bad mental anxiety. I have pressure that's shooting through the roof. I'm always in a panic attack. It's a struggle for me to move around. Like I need to move around. But to sit here today and hear his progress, and I'm very proud of him because we were friends. We were like family. At least that's what I thought. But at the end of the day, when you do your crime, you just have to do your time. And he almost took my life, and that's why I'm opposed of it.
Yes, sir, Mr. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Mr. Meyer, did we hear from the DA's office?
Yes, ma'am. Randy Meyer, Assistant DA Jefferson Parish, and we're opposed to Mr. Hassan as well. It was a violent act, and accompanied that with his violent criminal record. That gives us some concern. We think he's only served 10 of the 25-year sentence. We think there's insufficient time served. And of course, there's strong victim opposition. He's had limited programming, vocational programming as far as, to help him be able to get a job when he's released from prison. He's done a lot of other programs, a GED, he's got a paralegal certificate. But there's nothing truly there to help him obtain a job when he is released, and a good job that's going to keep him on the right path. And I've got some concerns with his statements and his truthfulness with this board. Mr. Hassan said, I had a few drinks. Well, if you look at his application, the application says he had drank an inordinate amount of alcohol. And due to my being intoxicated, I wasn't aware at the time of what I had done. When you go down, you look at page 9, I believe, of his application, and that's where that is found. On page 49 of the application, on the pre-parole Carter questionnaire, it says no drug and alcohol abuse. And that was February 24th of 2023 when that was filled out. And there's really no substance abuse work that he's done. I think it's clear that it's something he needs before he should even be considered for a commutation of sentence, much less for actual parole. So for those reasons today, we are opposed to his request for commutation.
Sir? All right, is the board prepared to vote?
I'd like to call from executive session, please.
Second. We have a motion second for executive session to call the roll. Yes.
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 Yeah.
All right, we'll be in executive session to discuss confidential matters for a few minutes. Stand by, please.
I do wonder what it is that they're talking about I have the court transcripts here, and it's pretty. It's really scary how it happened. I mean, in a nutshell, he owned a bar, and they're talking. They owned a bar, and the bar was closing at the end of the night, and he was counting the money, which is what you do. And they discovered that it was $20 to $25 short. So all of this is over a supposed $20 to $25, which is just mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. He initially accused the bartender, and then he was like rude to the bartender. So the bartender left. Bartender texted the victim and expressed that she was, didn't want to be spoken to that way. They realized, yeah, that's a mistake. You don't mess with your help. They had her come back in. He apologized. He even gave her some more money. And then he just says, when she leaves, when the defendant turned around, he said, "Chris, you don't think I'll shoot you, huh?" Mr. Young asked the defendant what he meant, and the defendant pulled a gun from his waistband. He thought he was joking, of course, because it's his buddy. They work together. He asked him to put the gun away, and then he shot him. Got on his motorcycle and ran away. I don't know what they are looking at. He's been away for 10 years. People get longer sentences for having a blunt. He was shot so many times. Dr. Mead, an expert emergency room trauma surgeon, testified that Mr. Young was shot 7 times in his lower arm, left leg, abdomen, and buttocks. Further testified that no bullets perforated any organs or major blood vessels, but that all of the victim's injuries were potentially fatal and could have caused permanent injury. The victim tested positive for alcohol. Unbelievable. After the state arrest, the son's defendant's father testified that he was the owner and that Mr. Young was the bartender. Wasn't even so, it was his father owned the bar. Unbelievable. I mean, that's just something I can't really wrap my mind around. And they don't get into the details of it. They don't get into the nitty gritty. So why did you do that? I mean, here is someone that obviously has serious issues. You what impulse control? I mean, there are missing screws where you can't have someone. It's hard to believe that someone like that can ever be safe. This is more than just a substance abuse issue. For someone to pull out a weapon and unload it on their friend, on their coworker, because we're not even quite sure, because he thinks he stole $25. I mean, is $25 not even just a rounding error when you're running a nightclub with a bar?
Okay, we're back in regular session. And we are prepared to vote. Mr. Freeman will be voting first.
Okay, Mr. Hassan, you have a very confusing case. You've done a ton. I mean, not even close. You know, how much you've done. I mean, you served, committed you well in prison. You've done a good job. But you did also shoot at a man 6 times and did cause him pain. So, my vote today is going to be to commute to parole eligibility after 18 years, which will give you relief, but it'll also let you do what you got 14 in, right? Correct?
Almost 14, June 18th will be 14 years.
Give you four more to be parole eligible. That's my vote today.
Mr. Roche?
Mr. Hassan, based upon positive remarks by Mr. Barnes, my decision is to grant parole eligibility after serving 18 years.
Mr. Marabella?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Stein, my vote is likewise the same as my colleagues for the same reasons as outlined by Mr. Freeman.
And I do agree, my vote is the same. So we'll make a recommendation that your sentence be commuted to include parole eligibility after having served 18 years to the government. That's going to give you some time to go ahead and try to get enrolled in some of those classes that the VA expressed concern about, to help you with some substance abuse issues. Good luck to you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
And that concludes our business at the barracks today. Thanks so much for contacting us. It's 9:41.
Thank you. That's a good part, right?
Yes, sir.
You good with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We appreciate you.
I asked him for commutation and parole.
Oh, okay. So it's not completely bad.
It's not completely bad. It's good. I had, you know, my thing was, they can see that I'm taking it. Right. In my people, you see the girl, they stole this money. Then now he tell people that I stole the money, you know.
You did good by just, that's right. Let them say whatever they want.
So.
We were a little bit of a fly in a wall for that. What did he say? I mean, he was happy. So yeah, like basically he applied for commutation and for parole. And he got commutation, which means like after, basically they just shortened up his sentence. I think 2 years. It's really not, if anything, it's like a gesture of goodwill, I guess, because I mean, there's no guarantee the governor even signs it. Maybe it makes him more eligible for some programs. I'm fascinated, surprised even that after 10 years, his application for commutation and parole was even looked at. You just think there's so many other cases. I don't know how that works. I mean, here's a man who literally shot his buddy 6 times, which is straight up attempted murder. It's a miracle that he's a really bad shot. And even then, to get shot 6 times, there are, as the doctor said in the report, so many areas that you could have hit an artery. We have plenty of nurses that watch this that I see in the comments section that will share the news and facts on that. And he came on to be like, the victim came on and said, man, I'm struggling still. And he is. His whole life was just, we can't even imagine just the physical aspect of it. To have to deal with that every day of your life and how it will affect him as he gets older, not to mention the PTSD aspect. When your friend pulls out a weapon, boom, 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 6 times at you. And we read the court transcript, and it seems like it was over nothing. We went over it already, so I'm not going to do it again. I'll put it in the description. But they're closing out his daddy buys him a bar. He acts like he's the owner. They're talking about a $20 to $25 discrepancy in the register. He goes off on the bartender, who then rightfully sticks up for herself. He then apologized to her. And I'm guessing that maybe like his friend was, taking the bartender's side or something. And then he pulls out, we didn't get the full story in the transcript, obviously. But it doesn't make a difference. We're talking about nothingness. He pulls out the gun and unloads on him. Why would you not serve your full sentence? He got a pretty good sentence, 20 years, for shooting someone 6 times, and they're having mercy on him. Not a lot. What was it? It's commutation to 17 years, which means that if and when the governor signs it, like the next chance of his parole eligibility will, right now he doesn't have a chance of parole. So he'll be eligible for parole and probably will get paroled. The question is, does the governor sign it? So assuming he does, it is hope that he doesn't need to spend another 10 years in prison. So I guess from that perspective, when you take the step back, it's like it is a big deal because it's hope that he can get out. And maybe, really, it depends on the governor. Anyways, love to hear your thoughts on this. And with that, I'll let you go.